Hi everyone again. It's Chelsea. I figured I would start reading my story. There's going to be like 3 parts to it. So, it's like 10 pages per part. But here we go. So, and this is something that I wrote about my story. It might be upsetting to some people, which I apologize, but I need to tell my truth completely. So, here we go. My mind is on a constant feedback loop, trying to understand how I got here so fast, how I burned everything I loved to the ground and barely noticing, at first that is, because at some point it became extremely evident. But once you're painfully aware, it's almost impossible to make the right decisions. As contradictory as this might sound, making the wrong decisions was physically easier every time. Knowing the toll on your conscience is never worth it. Ever since I was a child, I have always had these deep thoughts, questions, and observations about life and who I am, but never being able to find clarity in it, which has always led me back to this nihilistic way of thinking, find no meaning in it. So searching for meaning outside myself, like many of us were programmed to do, became inherently part of it all. That's where my brain decided, let's do the thing that makes you feel good right now, regardless of the consequences. I would say my self destructive behavior started as a young teen, yet my addictive behavior started as a child. I am a drug addict in long term recovery. Sometimes I don't even like to say it like that because I really feel like I was a deeply wounded little girl who could never find a way to heal, always searching for someone to love me the way I loved. And a traumatized, abandoned, empathetic, hopeful, broken soul only finds comfort in the souls that mirror such instability. So, if you haven't guessed it, I was definitely a product of my environment. I can't be sure, but my trauma started real young. The sexual abuse, well, smexual abuse, I first remember was around 2 to 3 years old to about 6. But my grandfather, that was my first, by my grandfather, excuse me, that was my first confused experience with abuse or love being perceived as love. I knew something was very wrong with it, but I was a baby and just wanted attention and to feel good like someone loved me. When he got caught with another child, I was asked if it happened to me. And as programmed and groomed as I was, I lied. I said no. So when I did say small things about it, I was told it didn't happen. I remember I kept being inappropriate, even drawing people doing inappropriate things when I was at school, and I got in trouble for it. I got asked about it, and since I lied, no one investigated further. Until this one day, my aunt asked if I was sexually abused by my grandfather. I finally felt safe enough at 7 years old to say I was. The one thing I never mentioned was that I was also abused in the same way by another person I absolutely loved and looked up to. And they did it after knowing it had already happened. I was about 6 or 7 during that time. It made me very confused and, of course, affected the way I viewed my relationships with myself and the way I should be treated by a man who loves me. I wanted to protect this person because the compassion and empathy in me knew there was something wrong with them, and they never did it again. During the same time period, between the ages of 3 to 7, my mother had left. My father and I, of course, my mother had left my father. And I, of course, adored my mother. She was and is absolutely a beautiful person who has some issues, especially at that time. I have been told my many reasons why this happened on both sides of my family, but the abandonment scarred and has lasted. She left a few other times in my life, and it caused even more stress and confusion. I have a little brother. I actually have 2 little brothers, but one little brother is about 15 months younger than me, and then my other little brother is about 8 years younger than me. But my first little brother, that's really close in age, who is about 15 months younger than me. I felt I needed to protect and love him as well. He was very quiet and shy for a long time. I could see his hurt and confusion, yet he barely spoke on it. My parents were young when I was born. My dad was 16, my mother was 18. I now give grace for their mistakes, decisions, and abandonment, especially as I have been healing. We are human, and they were only perpetuating their traumas and abuse while unhealed. That's what our programming is meant to do. So it's only right for my heart to forgive and give grace while learning and holding boundaries. As my life progressed, I developed panic attacks at 7 and deep phobias at 9 years old. I maintained good grades in school and was also in the gifted and talented program for a short time as a child. I thought that was something to be proud of when I could not find happiness in the chaos surrounding me. I continued to shove my feelings down and learn to escape through my imagination, writing, dancing, learning, and reading. I felt uncomfortable in my own skin at all times, trying to prove to myself and others I was worthy of love and attention through my talents and intelligence. I made for an awkward, shy child up until I was about 12 years old. That's when the relentless bullying and exposure of my abuse came to light in my small town. My best friend I had at the time, she was a lesbian, and when I found out, she was scared I would tell the school, so she decided to go to school and make up rumors about me. The bullying was absolutely soul crushing. I was exposed to the world for. I was exposed. Excuse me, one second. I was exposed to the world for the dirty deeds done to me as a child, and then made fun of for it. And when you're already questioning what you could have done to cause these actions, it truly steals most of your light. My favorite aunt passed away that year as well, so the philosophical questions about life only became louder. I was very aware of the spiritual realm and its existence at all times. Because I grew up in a heavily haunted house. The spiritual warfare only ramped up when the pain in my life was relentless to lift. So the battles I was fighting were not just awkwardness and emotional turmoil, it was all things outside of me too. I say this to give a view of my childhood and where I was at, not for pity or to gain sympathy. I want to paint a brief picture of the way I felt so people can truly get to know me. I'm trying to be loud and vulnerable at 35 years old because I always chose to keep my voice inside. This programmed built box my circumstances built for me. The bullying stopped almost a year in because after a failed attempt to end my own life, I decided to listen to my father when he told me to physically defend myself. It came to that point. I heard the girl that used to be my best friend call my brother a stinky N-word. And that was enough for me to drop my books in between classes and drag her to the ground by her hair. I was lucky I didn't get in trouble, but it only made way for the ego boost I got from people starting to fear me. My anger felt like power, so I started to use it more and more. And when you go your childhood feeling powerless, that feeling is intoxicating. I think my addictive behavior was amplified with the need for others to fear me because I was living in fear. My first encounter with feeling different and truly loving it was when I had growing pains one night at 12 and could not stop crying. My dad gave me a half of a painkiller, Vicodin, not knowing the consequences that would have on my severely traumatized brain. He was trying to help because the routine of me crying almost nightly the year I grew like 6 inches was unbearable to us all. He did not understand the magnitude of simply giving me half of Vicodin from an old prescription he had. I instantly fell in love with the warm hug it simulated and the artificial happiness it supplied. That's the day I was forever rewired. I have never blamed him for that, nor really brought it up. If I did, I was not sober. After that, I was grabbing those life-saving pills as often as I could without his knowledge. I tried marijuana that year as well with my favorite cousins on a beach in Maine that summer. Then the following 2 years were filled with tough girl reputation, a best friend I truly connected with, good grades, detention, and suspensions. When I was 14, I started living with my mom full time. She struggled with partying and her own vices.